Welcome back to some more Meakashi. So, where we last left off, we managed to find Keiichi, um, first sprite of in this game so far. But the thing is, on Shion's perspective, it is not like Satoshi, of course. But what can we do? Anyway, let's continue reading. A car passed by. The noise snapped me out of my reverie. Huff, huff. The sky was turning orange. I should get home before it gets cold. I should go home to Okonomiya. You're with me, right? Are you with me right now, Satoshi-kun? I walked back to my moat. Moped. My feet sank into the grass. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I stopped when I reached my bike, but then I heard an extra footstep. I gasped. I could feel somebody else's presence. I'm not stupid. Nobody else was around here. Nobody had suddenly appeared behind me. So I wasn't surprised to find nobody when I turned around. But he was definitely still there. Satoshi-kun. I couldn't see him, but he was there. He was there for me. Satoshi-kun never lies. He said he'd be with me all the time. I'd just been too insensitive to feel his existence until now. Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun. A breeze tickled my hair. It felt cold, but to me it was nothing but the warmth of his hand. It took me a while to notice that my cheeks were wet with tears. What's happening here? I was too scared to sleep. If I went to sleep, I might not find Satoshi-kun there in the morning. So I kept talking to him until I passed out. I told him about what happened while he was missing. I told him that I realized how much I loved him after he went away. I searched for him, looking into various different things. I'd gathered underground information through Kasai, and bargained for police information with Oishi, but I couldn't find any leads. A long time passed, but I kept thinking about him. Etc., etc. I told him all the small details from my daily life. The places I wanted to go with him, the things I wanted to do with him, the food I wanted to share with him, and I told him a lot of things. I was sitting up at first, but I got tired, so I lay down. I got tired of moving my mouth too, so I started talking to him in my mind. It was the happiest night I'd ever had. What's Oh wow. Why is with the long pause? When I woke up, I didn't find Satoshi-kun by my side. Maybe it's because he can see... Maybe she's visualizing something. I don't know my theory, but maybe it's because she... I don't know. Maybe Satoshi-kun is watching by her or something. I don't know. I knew it somehow. I was afraid of it. That was why I didn't want to go to sleep. But at least I got to see him for one night. Just when I resigned myself to that, I felt Satoshi-kun's presence again. It wasn't a dream after all. I thanked God. And so I began my strange life with Satoshi-kun. As promised, Satoshi-kun was always by my side. He couldn't laugh, mumble, or stroke my head, but he was always with me, always right by my side. He disappeared sometimes, but he'd come back when I looked for him. It seemed that all I could hear was his footsteps. That's just the way it was. It was a bit sad, but I was still satisfied. His presence was really faint, so it was hard to sense him in the crowd, but he never left me. If he were tangible, I'd be taking his hand all the time so that he wouldn't be lost. In contrast, I could feel him very strongly in a quiet environment. Of course, I couldn't tell what his expressions were because he was just a presence. But after I got used to it, I could tell what he was thinking. At first, I could only tell if he was laughing or not. Eventually, I started to feel his emotions more strongly. I could communicate with him normally. I was usually alone with him, though. I didn't want to go to school or hang out with my friends anymore. But Satoshi-kun got upset about that. he'd keep mumbling unhappily. Now that I knew he'd always be with me, I shouldn't just stay home all the time. I was sticking to my time alone with him, however, because I was scared that he might suddenly disappear again, and I wanted to make the most of the time I was sharing with him right now. I must have been worrying too excessively. Satoshi-kun will always be by my side. Yeah, that was his promise. He never breaks his promises. I was fine because he was there. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody about him, not even Sis. I could try to explain it to them, but they'd never understand. But I was certain that he was with me, so I'd be alright. I never get fed up with life with him. He's really cute, you know. We always walk together, but when I stop, he always walks one extra step. That's so adorable, I love it. Notebook, page 159. That's a lot of pages. If only I can read her diary. I don't know, who knows. Shion-chan, what are you going to do on Watanagashi this year? I guess I'll have some fun at the festival. Maybe I'll tease Sis and her friends. I wanted to go to the festival with Satoshi-kun. I knew he'd like to see me having fun with everybody. He might get jealous if I play with Kei-chan, but Satoshi-kun isn't very sensitive in that way. Satoshi-kun loved to see me and my friends have fun, so I should have a lot of fun for his sake. Then I talk about the date with him later. How are you going to Hanamizawa? I can give you a ride if you want. I'm taking my moped. So you don't have to. Oh, it's a moped. I meant to say, I thought it was moped. God damn it. Let me go back, scroll up. I walked back to my moped. Okay, well, my English is way off right now. Taking my moped so you don't have to. That won't do. Aren't you going to the family party afterwards? I can't let you drive under the influence. He won't let me drive, but he's kind enough to let me drink. Alright, take me then. Good. Let's leave before nightfall. I'll come pick you up around that time. After Kasai left, I sensed that Satoshi-kun was excited about going to the festival. Watanagashi, huh? So it's been almost a year since you went away. Satoshi-kun seemed confused. I bet you're going all oomph right now, aren't you? We laughed together. Welcome. Here's your net and a bowl. Great. Wow, these fish are so active. They look delicious. I could eat this one. I could eat this little one raw right here. Huh? What are you saying, Mion-san? Mi-chan, you eat goldfish? Did you eat the one I gave you last year too? No, I didn't say that. Sis shook her head hard. She turned all red. But you just said it. You said they look delicious. I heard it too. Sis eats everything as long as it fits inside her mouth. If it's really good, I'll try it once. No, you can't, Rika-chan. You're going to get sick. Wait a minute. Hey, you. How long have you been here, Shion? Hi, Kei-chan, Sis, and everyone else. Good evening. When did you get here, Shion? I've been here since you were at the chow mein booth. I found you guys quickly since you were making so much noise. Hey, you're not in our club. Get lost. Don't be mean, Sis. Right, Kei-chan? You're fine if I come with you guys, right? I took Kei-chan's arm and held it between my breasts. Puff, puff. We were going to have a ball. Oh shit. Well, just like in the previous chapter, just like in the second chapter, it's the same exact thing. I went around the booths with Sis and her friends. I joked around and laughed out loud. I teased Kei-chan and Sis too. Kei-chan was at the center of the group, so if I did something to him, it naturally involved everybody else. It looked like Satoshi-kun was having a hard time finding his own spot in the crowd. When I glanced at him in a quiet moment, he smiled and told me to have fun without worrying about him. If he were tangible, I'd pull his arm to join the crowd. It made me sad that I couldn't do that. I bumped into somebody's shoulder. It was obviously my fault, so I apologized right away. As it turned out, it was somebody I knew. Oh look, it's these two again. Oh, looks like you're having fun. Good evening, Shion-chan. The moon looks beautiful tonight, doesn't it? Oh, it's been forever, Takano-san. And you were... Nice to meet you. I'm Toмотaki. I heard you were Mion-chan's twin sister. Nice to meet you too, Toмотaki-san. I heard you were a great cameraman. Please take a picture of me someday. I'm just an amateur dreaming of going professional. Well, you're actually great, Jiro-san. You're good at many things. No, I need to study more. I have no talent, so I have to put out a lot of effort to compensate. They must have been in a relationship. Well, no shit. You two look so happy together. Am I interrupting you? Oh no, I appreciate your consideration, but you're not interrupting us at all. And you can call me Mio like before, not Takano-san. It's a bit hard for me to call someone older than me by her first name. Well, never mind. I smiled bashfully, and Takano-san smiled back elegantly. I haven't seen you in the library since. I wanted to talk to you more as a fellow researcher. Well, when I feel like it. Fellow researcher? Are you interested in it too, Shion-chan? I mean, in the legend of this village? Of this village. Toмотaki-san raised his eyebrows. As far as I knew, Takano-san's hobby wasn't exactly normal. On the surface, her research dealt with the cultural history of ancient Hinamizawa, but its main focus was the Watanagashi festival from ancient times, the cannibal banquet in which they captured and gutted a living sacrifice. Her research covered various stories surrounding that and other legends of cruelty. It was nothing if not gory. That was where her main interests lay. Wow. So I didn't feel comfortable being called a fellow researcher, to be honest. But objectively speaking, her research notes were fun to read. It was then that I heard the loud booms of the taiko drums. The main event of the Watanagashi festival, the dedication dance, was about to start. According to Takano-san's hypothesis, the part of the dance where the shrine maiden tears open a futon mat represents gutting a living victim. It's starting. I should head over. Aren't you guys coming to see Rika-chama's performance? Huh? Toмотaki-san looked bewildered. Did that mean he wasn't coming? Takano-san giggled, then whispered in my ear. To tell you the truth, we're thinking of sneaking into the ritual storehouse. Eh? She made it sound like she was going to do something fun, but it wouldn't be amusing to anyone who knew what the ritual storehouse was. The ritual storehouse, or the storehouse for ritual implements, is sort of a treasure house belonging to the Furut Shrine. I'd heard that Oyashiro-sama's sacred treasures were stored in there. Only people from the Furut family and selected members of the other three families are allowed to enter. They believe that if other people enter, the place will be desecrated. Everybody in Hinamizawa must have been curious about what was in there when they were kids, but the storehouse was always tightly locked. You couldn't just peek into it either. Kids would get chided if they played around it, so they learned to stay away. I didn't like being around it myself since I was familiar with all that. Even though I didn't believe in curses, I still didn't want to be near it. Nothing good can come from breaking the rules. Were they still going to enter the ritual storehouse despite all that? I'm pretty sure it's tightly locked. It was until last year Rika-chan had the heavy bolt changed to a cheap padlock because the bolt was too heavy for her to lift. Did you know that? No, but even if it's cheap, it's still locked, isn't it? Jiro-san is very skilled. Oh, are you good at picklocking? Once the Watanagashi ritual starts, everybody will gather around the stage, right? Then the area around the storehouse will be completely devoid of people. Tonight, this place will be a blind spot. Can't see the forest for the trees, I suppose. According to her hypothesis, the ancient tools used for human dissection and torture would be found in the ritual storehouse. Why don't you join us in a bit? It's now or never. So maybe I'll see you then. Can I say no? I'd rather have fun. Takano-san, what are you telling her? Just girl talk. Let's go to some dark place for a quick date. Huh? Takano-san walked against the flow of the crowd alongside Tomataki-san. The ritual storehouse, huh? It was supposedly filled with torture tools. Considering what they had in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki house, that's quite possible. Well, it could mean something. Satoshi-kun fell victim to the curse in the 4th year. His aunt's death was the sign of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun was the sacrifice to pacify Oyashiro-sama's anger. That was what Takano-san said last year. It was just her hypothesis. At present, I wanted to deny her hypothesis because I wanted to believe that Satoshi-kun was still alive. If her hypothesis was correct, either some religious fanatic or somebody from the 3 families must be imitating the curse in order to revive the ancient custom of Onikafuchi. That would mean that it was them who killed Satoshi-kun. Well, shit. What if he did got killed? So what if the ritual storehouse was filled with garbage instead of torture implements, or like props? Maybe it was filled with broken palanquins, whatever you could call it, or freshly painted signboards for the festival. What then? It wasn't really hard for me to believe that it was filled with the chemical smell of paint. Maybe I'll get to deny the hypothesis that Satoshi-kun was sacrificed by seeing the inside of this ritual storehouse for myself. Whatever was in there, it didn't mean that Satoshi-kun would come back. What should I do, Satoshi-kun? Since most people went to see Rika-chama's ritual dance, the festival grounds were deadly quiet. Even so, I couldn't sense Satoshi-kun. Did he go somewhere, or was I not paying enough attention? Or maybe he wasn't feeling any emotions in particular. After thinking for a while, I decided to go in with them. It had been almost a year since Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I had been avoiding the truth because I was afraid he might be dead. But now I had a chance. I had a chance to see the inside of the ritual storehouse. I felt as though something divine had arranged that coincidence. On my way to the storehouse, I noticed Keiichi. He was jumping up and down, trying to see Rika-chama's dedication dance over people's shoulders. If I took him along, we could split the guilt. Oyashiro-sama might put a curse on me for entering his divine storehouse. I wanted a partner in crime. Since the boy I loved disappeared last year because of the curse, maybe Mion's love should disappear this year. Mion's love, as in Keiichi, huh? Whoa, what am I thinking? That must have been the demon inside me. I shook the thought out of my head. What's going on, Shion? Where's the best place to see Rika-chan's dance from? Is it far? Huh? I never said I was going to show you that. We made it to the ritual storehouse. Keiichi was baffled by the whole situation. Our timing had been perfect. I could see Tomataki-san picking the lock. Oh boy, this is like chapter 2, Watanagashi, but in Shion's perspective. Even though Keiichi must have been curious, he insisted that we shouldn't go in. But I talked him into it anyway. He was quick to change his mind when Tomataki-san joined in. It was completely dark inside, so Takano-san lit a battery-powered lantern. A small entry space appeared before us. It's so dark in here. Take care not to trip over anything. I appreciate the concern. Okay, doorman, keep a good watch. We're shutting the door now. Takano-san closed the door with a smile, as if leaving Tomataki-san out on purpose. Man, alright everyone, have fun. What are you, my teacher? This is the worst field trip we could ever be in. As soon as the heavy door was closed, we were surrounded by a quiet darkness. All we could rely on was Takano-san's lantern. It'll be fine. It's an outdoor lantern with backup batteries inside. It won't go out or anything. Takano-san teased Keiichi a little. Keiichi, in return, looked a little pale. He seemed to be able to recognize the sanctity of the building, even though he wasn't from Hinamizawa. Let's go in. Here we go. There. After Takano-san opened the heavy inner door, a dusty, foul smell flowed out. It was like the smell of a pantry that hadn't been opened in years, and the smell of a fish market mixed together. I didn't know exactly how to describe it, but it was a bad smell. From listening to the echo of our footsteps, I could tell that this room was much bigger than the one we were just in. When Takano-san raised her lantern, I could clearly see how just big it was. Wow! At the far side of the wall, there was a statue of some kind of god staring down at us intruders. The way it was lit by the lantern gave it a powerful appearance, and it scared me. That's the guardian god of Hinamizawa, or Yashiro-sama. I looked up at the statue, which was holding its religious ornaments. If Satoshi-kun's disappearance really was a curse, I couldn't forgive this god. I found myself irritated by the way the statue looked down at me. Damn you, or Yashiro-sama. If you really made Satoshi-kun disappear, I'll never forgive you, never. Keiichi didn't seem to understand the significance of the storehouse. He looked bored. Takano-san noticed that and took out her scrapbooks to show him the brutal history of ancient Hinamizawa. I'd heard that story already, so I decided to walk around by myself. Since I knew the significance of all these tools, I felt a little nauseated. Though they certainly wouldn't jump out to me, I still found them intimidating. They looked as if they were craving for fresh blood, after not having been used in hundreds of years. All the tools looked similar to the ones I saw in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki main house. What the fuck? Okay, whatever settings shit happened, I don't know why it does that. Fucking battery and all. Anyway, all the tools look similar to ones I saw in the underground torture room. Well, no kidding. Sonozaki main house. If those tools were the progenies of torture implements, these would be their ancestors. All the implements here looked old. I doubted they could really be used. They weren't kept maintained like the ones at the Sonozaki house. So, did that mean they shouldn't scare me? No, on the contrary, they told me that cruel rituals were indeed performed in this village at one point. Now that I found scary, what Takano-san told me was the truth. Oh my god. It's like, zoink Scoob, she was right all along. Anyway, when I stopped, Satoshi-kun also stopped behind me one step later. I felt no emotional change in Satoshi-kun. I couldn't tell if he was feeling something or not. I knew he was there, but I had no idea how he was feeling. I felt scared of him for the first time. If he could answer me, I want to ask him, who demoned you away? Are you listening, Satoshi-kun? I couldn't tell if he heard me or not. He left, as if he didn't hear anything. I could tell that he'd been sulky ever since we got here. I suddenly felt lonely, so I looked for him while walking around. I realized then that there was an altar in front of the statue. He might be there. It was a clean altar. An altar ornamented with religious artifacts. It was kept well maintained. I saw no dust. That would mean, well, the flowers in the vase weren't wilting. I saw a pretty handkerchief under the vase. It looked out of place amongst everything else. I was fairly certain it was Rika Furu's handkerchief. That would mean that this storehouse is maintained daily. It wasn't a forgotten ruin buried in dust. So the brutality that dwelled in this ritual storehouse is still alive and well in Hinamizawa. That's right. Something as ambiguous as Yashiro-sama's curse is nothing more than a simple delusion of the villagers. As Takano-san said, everything that happens in this world is done by humans. I'd accused Yashiro-sama of demoning away Satoshi-kun, but Yashiro-sama is just a statue made of bronze or wood. It's nothing but an icon. There are, however, human beings who would try to make that icon seem real. A fake idol! Oh boy. The series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is the result of human action. It shouldn't be called Oyashiro-sama's curse. If Satoshi-kun was the fourth year's victim, then he was victimized by a human being who just was acting the part of the curse. The person who demoned away Satoshi-kun must not be very far from me. The truth behind Satoshi-kun's disappearance was not so far from my grasp. Thump. I was startled by the sound. It sounded like somebody had dropped something. I looked over at Takano-san and Keiichi. Takano-san was still lecturing him. Damn, how long has she been lecturing that dude? Did she drop her scrapbook or something? Thump, thump, thump. The sound came from right behind me, not from them. I never heard Satoshi-kun do that. It sounded like somebody was stomping on the floor in frustration. But what is it? Thump, thump, thump. The sound continued, ignoring my question. Though I heard it right nearby, it sounded as though a child was hopping on a wooden floor, somewhere distant. What's wrong, Satoshi-kun? Are you angry about something? I couldn't read his expressions. I thought he was mad, but I didn't sense any emotion from him at all. Was he mad that I touched the altar? Maybe you weren't supposed to do that. Thump, thump, thump. It's not that I've been able to communicate with Satoshi-kun in a concrete way. I just talked to him. I was never expecting him to react like that. I didn't sense a willingness to communicate from this creepy sound. Then a chill ran up my spine. I felt as if all my pores were opening. I'd been thinking that it was Satoshi-kun stomping on the floor. Hey, you. You're Satoshi-kun, aren't you? The sound stopped when I asked that. It wasn't a yes or a no, just silence. Satoshi-kun wouldn't scare me like that. I realized suddenly that the sound hadn't come from Satoshi-kun. A cold shiver shot through my feet, and I sprung a step backward. The sound had come from right there. Even though I jumped back, it was still just a few meters away. Satoshi-kun would sometimes let me hear his footsteps when I walked. But if that wasn't Satoshi-kun, then there was no guarantee I'd hear its footsteps. So that invisible being could already be right in front of my eyes, and I just wouldn't see it? I forgot everything and ran, straining my ears as much as possible for any sound, listening for any footsteps pursuing me. I ran right into Keiichi and clung to him, timidly turning back to look. The dimly lit area before the altar was quiet, like nothing was happening. But seeing that chilling darkness stillness, realizing I was just in that space, made me even more frightened now. What's up, Shion? Did you get scared? Keiichi made fun of me. Even though he'd looked more horrified just a little while ago, he now looked satisfied to see me scared too. I know girls tend to get freaked out by haunted houses. Well, I don't mind it. Anyway, let's go. Before Takano-san leaves us behind. I pretended to be fine, but I wasn't sure if I was able to hide my fear entirely. The footsteps were chasing me. They were outside the illumination of the lantern as if they couldn't go into the light. The presence never left us, however. It followed us like a fourth member of the party. Sometimes it made a stomping sound as if wanting some recognition. But neither Takano-san nor Keiichi seemed to notice it. It was possible for Takano-san to be ignoring it, but Keiichi would never ignore it. If he could hear it, he would have said something. So, just like with Satoshi-kun, only I could hear it. What was this thing that was making me so scared? Was it Satoshi-kun in a bad mood? Or was it possible that the presence I believed to be Satoshi-kun might not have been him at all? Thump, thump. What are you upset about, Satoshi-kun? Tell me if I did something wrong. I'll apologize. Thump, thump, thump. If you aren't Satoshi-kun, then where did he go? When did you take his place? Thump, thump, thump. Shion, are you alright? Huh? I'm fine. You look pale though. Then I'd appreciate it if you don't. Then I'd appreciate it if you didn't stretch my clothes too much. Oh, sorry. Oh, am I interrupting you too? I decided to engage in a conversation to help myself ignore the sound from behind. Oh, god damn it. Phone call, as usual. I don't know why it does that. Anyway. Let's see, what was I again? I decided to engage in the conversation to help myself ignore the sound from behind. Or something. Oh, I didn't hear the sound as much and it became a bit more distant. Anyway. Yeah, I shouldn't pay attention to it. It wouldn't bother me if I didn't hear it. I should just ignore the noise. Takano-san, you're researching whether those customs survived into the present. You are, right? Thump, thump. What I'm about to tell you is a secret, alright? I told you, Shion-chan, because you're an understanding... Shion-chan, because you're an understanding person, but the other villagers don't want to hear it. If things go awry, I could be ganged up on and punished. Well, who knows? She smiled at me like a witch. Thump, thump. My Barakun, you keep it a secret too, okay? If this gets out, I could suffer Yashiro-sama's curse, or be made into a sacrifice. If it's the curse, then I wonder what kind of death it will be this year. If it's the sacrifice, then will I be thrown into the Onikafuchi swamp while still alive? And it is tonight, you know, the night of Yashiro-sama's curse. It certainly is. If the curse strikes for a 5th time, it'll happen tonight. Thump, thump, thump. Takano-san pulled out an old scrapbook from her paper bag and started turning the pages. She opened it to the page with that one article. It was the article about the brutal murder of a Watanagashi victim. It happened in the Meiji era. This is a story that actually happened. It was around the end of the Meiji era. They discovered an unknown mangled corpse, the victim of a murder in Onikafuchi village. Okay, all these thumps. Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Thump, thump, thump. Hey, you guys seriously don't hear that? It's freaking loud. How can you not hear it? Ah, hell, it's freaking noisy. Cut it out already. And the next moment, we all heard a squeaking noise. We turned around in surprise. It was just Toмотaki-san opening the door. Did I startle you? Oh, Joro-san. Could you not resist seeing inside? This is a splendid treasure trove of torture devices. I'll pass on that. I'm bad with this sort of thing by nature. Takano-san laughed as if making fun of Toмотaki-san for being such a scaredy cat. Oh man. In any case, the dance and ceremony are over and everyone's going down to the river. The festival as a whole will be over within minutes. Time was up. I never expected that Toмотaki-san would save me from this nightmare. His face suddenly looked heroic. Oh? Keiichi-kun, are you leaving too? I've seen enough. Shion, you're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air. I agree. Let's leave. I went into the entry room and turned around. Takano-san was taking photos in a mad rush. though our time was up. God damn it, you got no time for fucking selfies and shit in front of fucking torture devices. I don't know why I said that. It's retarded. I didn't hear that sound anymore. Wait a sec. Here's my questionable theory. If Shion can hear the noises, then why is the second chapter is not? They didn't show me any noises. Oh, it was on Keiichi's perspective, but what was the stomping noises were for? Because I don't know what it was from. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel that presence. I didn't feel Satoshi-kun either, but somehow I wasn't too sad about that. Even if he followed me out here, I wouldn't be able to tell if it was really him or somebody else. And it just ended like that. I have received new tips. Notebook page 172, 173, and 179. Oh my god, it's dead silent. This doesn't feel like a good thing at all. Alright, let's look at new tips. Alright. That underground torture room is officially called the Underground Ritual Storehouse. So, do torture room and ritual storehouse mean the same thing? Oh, well, that's a great question. According to Takano-san's theory, bloody rituals, including Watanagashi, have been passed down among the three families even after the Meiji era. The rituals are always ready to be performed. Their form worship always revolved around torture. So Hinamizawa's history involved a great deal of human slaughter. Takano-san's theory is correct. The underground storehouse at the Sonozaki house looked well maintained. Takano-san is right about that too. Since the Sonozaki family and the Furude family both have ritual storehouses, the Kimiyoshi family must have one too. Gee, I wonder what it looks like for Kimiyoshi's storehouse. Must have one too. After all, these ancient and brutal customs are still handed down through the generations. I should remain armed with the knowledge that occult events are still secretly being performed in this cursed village. Alright, next page, 173. The sanctity of the ritual storehouse is one of the most prominent elements in the worship of a Yashiro-sama. Of course, I knew that since I'm originally from Hinamizawa. But violating that sanctity is actually a more serious problem than I thought. Takano-san's research shows that the history of the ritual storehouse goes way back. The ritual implements within have long been viewed as inviolable objects, which is why it was strictly forbidden to enter. Takano-san's theory says that Watanagashi was once a public execution performed to stabilize the reign of the three families rather than a purely religious ritual. If so, the ritual should hardly be called sacred. Under those circumstances, the implements should have been despised as symbols of hatred and fear. When instruments of fear are too visible, it only creates a reign of terror. But keep them as hidden as possible and they gain divinity. Many said they would become tainted if the laymen touched them. The only reason for that was to preserve their false prestige through secrecy, since they would lose their sanctity if revealed before the common folk. In other words, the true identity of the ritual storehouse's sacredness was fear. That was the true emotion ruling over this village. (179) The reason why Takano-san and Tomitaki-san were cursed is because they broke into the ritual storehouse. I don't know how the villagers found out about it. Maybe somebody was watching. Maybe there was an anti-theft alarm. Why would no one put a fucking security alarm in inside the storehouse? Maybe someone I don't know, maybe the spirit was inside and watching them the whole time, and then they report back. I don't fucking know. That's another theory right there. Anti-theft alarm. Either way, our intrusion must have been reported to the highest level of the curse system. That's because considering the distance between the village and the site where Takano-san's body was found, she must have been killed right after we came out of the ritual storehouse. It was done very quickly. It's possible that a special assassination team exists for this purpose, or that the plan had been set up a long time ago. They might have been secret agents of the Sonozaki family, but the latter sounds more valid. But if so, who would have been the victim if nobody broke into the ritual storehouse? That's a great question. So let's look at all tips real quick. Yeah. Yeah, we're good to go. But so far there's no music playing. Dead silence is kind of a little bit creepy in a way. But other than that, I'll end this here for now. So next part, we're gonna move on to the chapter 10 of Meakashi, or part 10. So like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys later. Have a good one.